$250 million on 2 midfielders.
Yeah.
It's a quarter. We've got...
This club now is becoming a place where players come to
Graveyard,
rot. They drop off. Yeah.
This is now idiocy in the dugout.
What a season to end.
There you go. There you go. The place needs uniting.
Yeah.
And I think the only person that can do that is Jose Mourinho.
Rory, welcome. Back on DR Sports. Good to see you again.
Yeah, an honour.
Feels like a death.
It's a shame. It's a shame it's under such circumstances because this is about as flat. This is about as flat as it could be. I don't remember. Obviously, losing finals is something that we're all very aware of. You know, I was in Moscow. We lost to Manchester United in the European Cup. I was at Wembley when Jonathan Woodgate scored in 2008. I've seen us lose finals, but I don't think I've ever felt as deflated as this. It's different. Do you agree? It's different.
I feel sick.
Yeah.
We were speaking about it before we started. I feel genuinely like my heart has just been pulled apart. Like I actually feel unwell. I'm so filled with rage and anger. But I was speaking to you before. You're saying that you're now becoming numb.
Yeah, I know. Well, when you mentioned that before, I said I'm envious of you for that. I'm envious of you because I think being angry is at least a strong emotion, and that's what football is. Football is an emotional connection. We say things and we want things that aren't necessarily rational because it's a heart-led emotion rather than, like, you know, when people sort of say to me, you know, when they approach football through like an academic lens. So if I say, for example, I think we need Mourinho, people go, but of course that's not. I'm like, look, I don't care. It's not rational. Maybe it isn't rational, but I love it. It's an emotion.
Yeah.
Whereas, and what you're saying is with your anger, you're saying that there is an emotion that you're feeling passionate. Anger is obviously a very passionate emotion. You're feeling that. I'm not. I don't feel like that. I just feel incredibly dejected, incredibly deflated. I don't think there's been a Chelsea team in terms of like a collection of players that I've disliked as much as this.
Really?
Like, yeah, I'd say there are so many individuals that I dislike in this squad.
Really?
I have no desire to watch them play. I've got no enthusiasm. You know, generally, I revolve my life around a fixture list.
Yeah. And
my entire life will revolve.
Yeah.
I've got no interest. I saw a mate this morning for something to eat. He's gone to me, do you want a Forest ticket? I've gone, no.
You're disconnected.
Do you want a Sheffield United ticket? I've gone, no, I don't want any ticket. No, I don't. This collection of players...
you're setting yourself up to ruin your own day.
Mate, I don't know why. I find it very difficult to commit any kind of time or love or emotion to this crop of players that 95% of them don't demonstrate anything like that.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that you're angry, you're probably 2 games away from me. If it goes, you know what I mean? Leeds United smash us up in the cup and you're going to come over here.
I feel like I'm almost like a hopeless romantic where I'm like, so you don't feel any connection to that team. I look at it from a...
Who do you... like?
I don't connect with them, but I see shreds of like potential, like when Disasi gets into the away crowd and I see even Jackson shamelessly celebrating at Tottenham and I'm like, I know they're immature. I know they're young. I know they're naive. I know they're socially unaware. They've made mistakes this season off the field, but I feel like there's something there. But maybe that's just me just being...
I was with you, right? Disasi away at Palace, that was fun.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah.
And I liked the performance that he put in. But obviously that iconic image of him like diving back first almost into the away end is great. Like, because we're quite often suckers for that.
Yeah.
Like, I remember when Antonio Conte, we beat West Ham at home in Conte's first game on a Monday night.
Yeah.
And where I used to be in the Matthew Harding Lower was right in line with the east where he'd sit. And he literally dived head first into the family end.
Yeah.
Costa scored last minute. Conte did that and a love affair was born. Disasi does that and now I'm a bit older and I'm a bit more cynical.
Okay.
Disasi does it and I'm like, okay, it's good, I'm on board.
Yeah.
But then he puts in a performance like he did against Liverpool. Like, he was all over the place.
Yeah.
He was all over the place. He missed the easiest chance of the day. And do you know what, Matisse, mate? I don't know where you sit on this one. I don't like Mykhailo Mudryk. I don't rate him. I don't like him.
I didn't want him.
I don't think he's... I think he'd be overpriced at 10 million though, mate.
Jeez.
I think he's useless. I think he'll leave. I think he's crap.
He plays the game like someone in an academy who is just coming through. And because he's got that price tag on him, which we've overpaid for a lot of players, right? But we've massively overpaid for him. So there's that pressure for him to deliver when really he has no history or any CV or evidence of doing so.
I know.
But that's what we've done throughout the whole team.
But do you know what, mate? I don't like him. I don't rate him. I've got no real interest in Mykhailo Mudryk. But I thought then Disasi, did you see in the goal, the goal that stood?
Yeah.
Did you see Disasi's reaction to Mudryk?
Yeah. But what's going on with the marking?
How can Disasi blame like that's Disasi's man? I don't care. I don't like.
But it didn't feel like he was marking him. It didn't feel like we had centre backs marking centre backs. We knew. I felt. We'll talk about the game now. Like I felt like the centre backs, Van Dijk and Konate, when they were on, that would be a massive threat on set pieces because we know we've struggled from that this season. We've had Colwell at left back to try and get some more height into the team, and I'm seeing like Gallagher and Mudryk marking these guys.
The goal was disallowed. It was Chilwell, wasn't it?
Yeah.
When it ended up being Chilwell, and you're just like,
I'm like, why are these people marking these players?
I think now though, do you know what you've taken it onto almost inadvertently? Yeah. This is now idiocy in the dugout. Isn't it? This is brilliance in one dugout and idiocy in another dugout. Yeah. If you're playing Liverpool, I'll tell you what you want to be careful of, right? There are certain things, say you're playing a full strength Liverpool.
Yeah.
There's a geezer on the right wing that's wicked, mate. Be wary of him. There's a geezer at centre half who's wicked when they have some set pieces. So be wary of him. Yeah. So when we concede set pieces, which is an error in itself, particularly if they're at full strength, right? Not only will they have Trent Alexander-Arnold on, one of the best dead ball specialists in the world at the moment, but they're also going to bring Konate and Van Dijk up, and you're going to be under pressure. Yep. Darwin Núñez potentially on the pitch at the same time as well. You're going to be under pressure. So firstly, tactically, be very careful fouling. Caicedo's running about, could have been sent off like a lunatic. You're like that. Your manager needs to have a word there. So be very careful where you give away set pieces. Secondly, when you do give away set pieces, you really have to switch on because ultimately they're probably going to win the first ball. They're probably like Van Dijk is probably going to win the first ball. Yeah. So you really have to get everything right beyond that, and we just didn't. We had a warning 10 minutes earlier. Yeah. We had a warning, like that goal should have stood in my opinion as well. I had a big debate about it, but I think Endo blocking from an offside position, but. Matisse, I'm of an age where Ricardo Carvalho was one of my favourites.
And he used to do it. Smart.
Like one of the best. We beat Barcelona at home 4-2. Terry's header.
What a guy.
Terry's header.
Ronaldinho.
Yeah, people forget Chelsea won that game.
Yeah, they do because of that great goal. Because of that goal. It was incredible.
But the winner, or the fourth, I think, Terry's header, if you watch Carvalho...
There's a block.
Just there.
But the game's gone that way,
but I don't think it should, though. I think things like that, what Endo did, although...
Smart, dark arts.
Yeah,
but the game's gone.
The game's gone.
I mean, I remember we were speaking on like certain individual players like Enzo, Caicedo. With all of this money invested, $1 billion, you'd think that there's some quality in there, some foundations to build on for the future. I know you...
It's $250 million on two midfielders. Yeah. It's a quarter... We've got three midfielders, right? It's £250 million on three midfielders, and one of them was free. So it's £250 million midfield, two of them.
Add Lavia in if you want. You've never seen him once.
Mate, but where do you sit?
Yeah.
Because I feel like I get quite a lot of stick for this. Where do you sit on Enzo Fernandez?
I really wanted this player because I saw what he did for Argentina, for Benfica. In possession, he can pull out any pass. I feel like, don't get me wrong, he's underwhelmed and he's definitely overpriced, and so is Caicedo. We should never have spent this amount of money. We got ourselves into bidding wars and whatnot. But I feel like some of these players, some like Mudryk, I really didn't want, and I was like, what are we doing here? We're just hijacking Arsenal. He's putting up Instagram stories, and what are we doing here? But some players, I feel like if you were to take them out of this almost just... It's toxic,
rudderless culture.
It's a death trap at this point. It's a death sentence. This club now is becoming a place where players come to rot. They drop off. If you were to take him as an individual, take certain individuals out and put them in squads under managers as well that were stable, that were experienced, that we look on that pitch, our captain is Ben Chilwell. He's scrapping with kids. You got the other side. Losing.
Getting bullied.
And then you've got Van Dijk, who's a leader of men. Leader of boys, I had to say earlier on, because he had kids all around him, but they still managed to prevail. He managed to lead by example. He basically won that game for Liverpool. So if I'm looking at our players, I'm thinking to myself, right, you have had a crazy upward trajectory in a season and a half in a Caicedo and Enzo. There is talent there, in my opinion. I do think these are very talented players, but they don't have leaders around them.
So if Enzo Fernandez was playing for Guardiola, you think he'd be a wicked player?
I really do. Honestly,
that's possibly
hand on heart.
That's
really
possibly true.
You put him next to a Rodri, and you've got leaders around him and a template and a style. This season, we're pressing, but we're not. We can't defend an open play.
Are you being really generous here? Are you being really kind and basically going, he's not playing well, but he's not playing well because of...
He has to take responsibility.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't get me wrong.
Should the player that you're saying he could be if he was playing alongside Declan Rice, should he not be doing that? Should he not be taking the game yesterday at Wembley? Yeah. You know, when it was moving away from us, extra time.
Yeah.
That's the opportunity for a midfielder, particularly a midfielder of that calibre. Argentina, you mentioned, a World Cup.
Yeah.
A midfielder that costs that amount of money. Isn't that the opportunity for that midfielder to go... Hold tight, I'm controlling this game now.
Yeah.
Give it to me.
Yeah.
Is that the fact that he basically shriveled, he
They
was
all did,
anonymous,
yeah.
it's almost irrelevant who's playing alongside him.
I think the game, though, as much as it is technical, it's so mental as well. And I just think when I look at this team and you look around and you don't see leadership, and then the pressure's on you, and don't get me wrong, he has to perform as well. But then if he does play a blinder, he did create a chance. It's fluffed.
Yeah.
Look at the chances we missed. You look at him, even
Gallagher.
himself.
Yeah.
The back heel.
I know.
What on earth is he? I nearly
Who do you
ripped
think you are, mate? Who do you think you are? You played with Messi. You're not Messi. What are you doing?
And but it's so consistent. Sterling, one of the most experienced players on the pitch, he tanked. Like, it's just so consistent from top to bottom. There's nobody in this club, from manager to players, no experience to do it at the top level. You remember when Chelsea were taken over by Roman? First thing they did, Peter Kenyon. Right, we're going to go and bring in someone who's got the experience, the wealth of knowledge at a top club to come and lead and tell everybody how we're going to lay down
Todd
the foundations.
Bowley made himself sporting director.
Yeah.
Geezer's never worked in European sport before in his entire life. Never worked in football.
Yep.
Probably hadn't heard of Chelsea a decade ago. Made himself sporting director of the club. That's not a million miles away from putting yourself up front. Is it? It's not, is it? It's going, I can do the job. But wait, why? Why are you the best man for this job?
But then, understanding you've made the wrong decision and coming to the conclusion that I've been naive here. This is not so simple. I can't just run this club. To a point when Stanley and Stewart, who since they've come in have done nothing but bring in under 23s, and they still persistently, I don't know if you see the links, linked with another 16-year-old, linked with another Brazilian, linked with another youngster. There is not an ounce of balance in our recruitment to say we're going to bring in an experienced player now. Look, Endo, 16 million, 30 years old, comes in, wraps the whole midfield up.
Mate, that
Japan.
block.
Yeah,
that
it was
block,
incredible.
That was going in.
Yeah.
That block, man.
He's a captain of Japan. He cost 16 million.
Do you think, hypothetically, right, say Clear Lake, the two that we know, Egg, Barley and Bowley, right, say hypothetically they could have bought Chelsea but they had a receipt today. Say that, like when you buy a jumper in M&S, right,
Yeah.
you got the receipt. Would they take it? Like, do you think this has gone so wrong for them that it isn't working? Or do you think that you speak about Win Stanley, all these young kids coming in and whatever? Do you think that it's kind of going to plan for whatever they perceive to be the long-term?
It can't be going to plan. I can't look at this team and think you planned to sit 10th back to back and come out of Europe purposefully, and this is according to the project.
But they aren't trying to build. They aren't trying to build a winning football team, are they? I don't know what they're trying to build.
Yeah.
But if you spend £1 billion,
Yeah.
and your striker costs £30 million, you're clearly not trying to build the best football team. Because if you want to spend £1 billion, that's cool. But if hypothetically anybody spent £1 billion, the striker is Kane, right?
Yeah.
Or Osimhen, whoever you believe the striker to be.
Should be, yeah.
It isn't a £30 million player that had a purple patch at Villarreal.
But they stockpile. So they buy a Jackson, then they buy a Washington who can't make the bench, then they buy a Datra Fofana, then they say we're going to get a Whispers.
Which is why, is it going to plan? Like, do they care about the League Cup? Do they care about making the team good? Or do you think that the board are looking at this going, okay, it'd be better if we won, but ultimately our long-term ambition, which is to turn a profit and to make Chelsea this asset, is
But these are
working.
billionaires, like, they're a consortium. They have this is like a small little thing in their portfolio. If you wanted to make money, if that was your true aim, why would you buy a football club that has so many expenses, wages, risk? You could invest that in stocks. Why buy a football club?
Because of the potential. Football,
The stadium.
if you the stadium.
How's that going to get done?
With the stadium,
Europe.
they'll probably try and sell the stadium. That's the thing. I think we'll move. And if you think about the real estate of what the stadium
Pitch
is,
owners won't have that though.
No, but there is a problem there. The other thing is, I feel like they'll, in terms of like turning a profit, the Americans here, if they compare the football to American sport, the regulations in American sport, you can't really do anything. Our football's a Wild West. They can make loads of money. There's so many avenues. I think that, look, I think they would rather that Chelsea were in the Champions League. But more for the prestige. Yeah, they're not trying to build a team. And that's why I'm so worried. I feel like everything that we know of Chelsea and everything that, if you're watching this and you're like not a Chelsea fan, everything that you think Chelsea to be over the years, like Chelsea have always been a team that will go and win anywhere.
Yeah.
Go and win anything.
Yeah.
You would never write Chelsea off.
Regardless of whether we deserve it, we don't care.
We could quite easily, over the past 30 years, turn up anywhere any day and win.
Anytime.
Doesn't matter. And win.
Yeah.
When it's looking most unlikely. I mean, the jewel in the crown would be Terry sent off for that foul on Alexis Sanchez. Like, that's the thing. Nobody beats that Barcelona team. Nobody beats that Barcelona team.
But we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are now like way more likely to lose anything.
Yeah.
And they've managed. It's almost achieving the impossible. They've managed to undermine and erode 30 years of winning mentality in 2 years. Did you see that stat about the 2 years thing? Gone. No, 30. I know. Yeah.
I'm glad because people say pre-Roman, what were you?
I know.
The 7 years before that, we never finished outside the top six. FA Cups, League Cup, Super Cup.
True
so
European.
Let's not. Yeah,
Stockholm. The Rosunda Stadium in Stockholm, mate. Gianfranco Zola, absolutely. But have you seen that thing about the 2 years?
No. What was
I thought
that?
this was so interesting, right? Chelsea the year 2000 won the cup. We didn't win another trophy till 2005. So we had a 5-year no trophy.
Yeah.
In that, since 2005, so we went 5 years there. Since 2005, we've never gone more than 1 year.
Oh, yeah, I
without.
get you.
So 2005 won a trophy, 2006 won a trophy, 2007 won a trophy, 2008 we didn't.
Then
but came back 9, 10, did 11, didn't, 12 did.
Of course, yeah.
Every time we don't, we do.
Yeah, I get you.
1 year off.
Yeah. It's been 2 years.
They've been in charge.
2 years.
Clear Lake have been in charge for 2 years.
Yeah.
2 years, no trophies.
And no Europe. 1 game a week.
And no Europe.
Gassing out in an extra time against kids that were playing under 21s against Stoke in the PL2 a couple of weeks ago. And we're tired. And we're fighting for our lives. And we're like, we have to defend the set pieces. We have to dig in and get to penalties. The mentality is crazy. Now, I know...
Why is Enzo Fernandez so tired all the time? What's he doing?
But why are we gassed out? This manager was meant to bring fitness. Now, I wanted this manager in because I saw the squad that they put together, which was a young team. And I thought, he's developed young players. He can get Chelsea back into the top 4. He won't win the league, but then we'll move on and we'll go again. And if we do win a trophy, how hilarious would I be able to point out expressions who I know you went on holiday with there. And I'd be like, hey, hold that. Can't do that. Now he's there sending me voicemails. But if they sack him, and I know you want him sacked, and I said against Wolves, it's time for him to go. He needs to be sacked, right? So we agree on that. But for me now, the directors are the most important thing because who will they hire to replace him? Because we've had Potter, we've now had Poch. The shortlist was Vincent Kompany was on the shortlist. Do you remember in the summer?
Ludicrous.
He's struggling. He can't get a win. So if they sack him, I'm not going to dance about because I'll say, all right, we've sacked him now. What now? But the continuous failure from since they've come in and their consistent extremism with buying young players won't end. And they won't look for a Mourinho or they won't look for anyone who has any combative winning mentality because they want someone who's going to say in the press conference, yeah, Broja, he's the next coming of Harry Kane. And then a week later, yeah, Broja's on loan at Fulham now.
I know.
And I don't need a replacement. I don't need a striker.
I think you're right. I think if you analyse what needs to happen at Chelsea, I would say genuinely to make the club a better place, Clear Lake need to not be there. But that isn't going to happen.
Roman locked him in 10 years.
That isn't going to happen. So do you know anything about that? Do you know? Like, I don't know the specifics of that. Does that literally mean that they cannot leave, even if they wanted to?
From what I'm aware, they can't sell dividends and they can't. You know what Manchester United have done with the Glazers? Roman has secured it to make sure that they can't do that. So they can't just piss around with the club's valuations and start selling stocks. So they're locked in for 10 years. So for me, the argument and the conversation of the ownership changing is just not going to happen.
Then the model needs to change.
But the model, and I have hope for that, which is, again, this is me clutching at straws towards the end. If Todd Boehly can want Cristiano Ronaldo, which for whatever reason was marketing or wanted a big name, then he can't now surely want all these kids. So that means whoever's he's put in place or whoever Egbali's put in place to run the show are the ones with the obsession. Now, it's difficult to change that when you spent $1 billion because how much money do we have left? FFP, we don't know. But the mentality of the club has got to change. And I think that's got to come from a new director of football coming in, at least now until the end of the season, overseeing someone who's been at top clubs, like we had the reference there under Roman at the start, and to say, right, I'm going to be watching you guys like a hawk to the end of the season, and I'm going to analyse this. And then in the summer, when that manager market frees up, we go.
I agree with every word you've said, but you are being...
too optimistic.
I agree. I mean, I hope you're right. I hope you're right, but I believe you're wrong. I mean, I really do hope you're right. I feel like people don't like this suggestion. And I think if you're rational, I do understand why it isn't necessarily the right move. But I think the only answer really is Mourinho. Because of everything that we spoke about at the very beginning of this video. You know, when I was saying, I've never felt more detached. I've never disliked a crop of players. I've never felt less valued as a fan as well. You know, like in terms of what they've done with Westview and things like that.
Yeah.
I've never felt like my support is wanted less. I don't think that Chelsea is a harmonious place at the moment.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of divide, including professionally.
Feels
you know,
corporate.
the players. I just feel like the place needs uniting.
Yeah.
And I think the only person that can do that is Jose Mourinho. And I find this, do you know, like, do certain things just annoy you in football? Like, certain things just really wind me up. And the one thing that I just can't tolerate, you know, people go, Mourinho's finished. It's like, what are you on about? Like, the geezer is one of the best managers to have ever lived. And you're like, you know, you get people like us, right? We're very fortunate to have a microphone in front of us.
Yeah.
But you get people in our situation, you may even conform to this. People who sit in front of a microphone and they go, Mourinho's finished. You're like, wait, what? Because he's a really good manager who arguably, I think you could easily make an argument that Jose Mourinho is the best manager to have ever lived in his prime years. And, you know, if you were to
Incredible.
say Mourinho 03 to 10?
Yeah. But do you still believe he's in his prime? Because
No, but I believe he's far better than Pochettino. Totally correct for us.
Could he handle this team? Like,
yeah, they need him. They need this.
I think from a mental standpoint, I agree. From a development and tactical, I would worry if he would not. Because you look at Roma, they bought so many. Matic came in, experience. He's now being given all these kids that need developing and they're probably going to need time and it's going to be frustrating. Is he the right guy to come in and
I think so.
marshal
I think
that?
for so many reasons, I think so. I do see the issue, but I am probably looking at this through the lens of love. Not
Because the last time we went emotional was Lampard, and that
I went very
south.
emotional.
But obviously,
I'd
Mourinho's clear.
have him back again.
No, you wouldn't, Rory. No.
I love it. I do love him.
I want him in the punditry, and that's it.
But look, right, with Mourinho, you know this theory that he's finished? Like his last 4 jobs, everyone goes, been sacked from his last 4
he's won
jobs.
trophies,
apart from Tottenham, when they probably would have won, they had a good chance of winning something.
Tottenham.
Tottenham, and they had a good chance of winning something, and they sacked him.
Yeah.
And Ryan Mason only lost that final 1-0, by the way. So you never know.
Yeah.
But he's one thing. You know, I saw an amazing stat. If you don't know this will blow your mind. Italian European trophies. You think of the prestige of Serie A, right?
Yeah.
Arguably the most sexy league, the most iconic league in Europe, right?
Yeah.
So beautiful. Certainly for what it once represented. The last 2 European trophies won by Italian teams. Jose Mourinho.
Yeah.
10. And more recently with Roma. And remember, he was 1 kick away from winning back-to-back European trophies
in the
with Roma.
knockouts. But in the league, his league form has been. I mean, De Rossi's come in and tried to steer. I don't know.
Who else can it be, though, Matisse?
I get you. It's not realistic, but I feel like if you were going to go down that type of route, which was the personality, the kind of
the
never
cult,
say die.
The cult, yeah.
I feel like Diego Simeone is more of like.
Yeah.
The higher level, which is like...
The problem with Simeone is there's nothing in it for him.
Yeah,
the reason why I say Mourinho is partly because Mourinho's... I feel like Mourinho needs us a bit as well. I think
he needs international job.
I don't think he
don't want
would
us to
think
kill his
that.
legacy.
I don't think he would... You couldn't. He's immortal. He went to Tottenham, man. If anything's going to kill his legacy, it's Tottenham. Like, I'm very unforgiving about that. And with him, I don't even care.
Let it slide.
Yeah, like, I haven't forgiven Idaho Johnson for a 6-month loan deal. But with him, I can certainly swallow it. Yeah, Carlo Cudicini, no thanks. But Mourinho gets away with it. I just don't think there's anyone other than Mourinho. I really don't. Just not only because I rate him as a manager, but say you don't.
I rate him in his past. I think right now he's
all of the other metrics though.
Yeah.
Who's going to make you desperate for an away ticket to Sheffield United? Who's going to make you?
But do you think when that shine wears off, the press conference at the beginning,
when that shine wears off, we would have won the FA Cup? Genuinely, we would have done. Like we would have done because that's who. Okay, is Jose Mourinho going to win a Premier League again? Probably not. Is he going to win a Champions League again? Probably not. Neither of those are problems for us. That don't matter. People go, he's not an elite manager anymore. But we're not an elite club anymore.
Yeah, but once that short-term period's over, then we're back in like searching
but
again.
Surely by that point
we should have
mentally like when Mourinho wrongly left in 07.
Yeah.
Off the back of that, Rosenborg, was it? Off the back of that.
Yeah.
We were a good team. Like, it went wrong.
Yeah.
But following on from Mourinho should be a privilege.
Yeah.
You're inheriting a team that won back-to-back leagues. Look, I know we're not that anymore.
Yeah.
And I know he's not that anymore. But I just don't know. Okay.
I don't have an answer.
I've got a final point to maybe try and woo you, bring you on side to Mourinho. I need you on the Mourinho hype train. Who's a better manager today? Literally today. Jose Mourinho or Mauricio Pochettino?
I honestly don't know.
That you do.
I know who inspires players. I know who has...
Chelsea would have won the cup.
Chelsea
Chelsea would have beat Liverpool with Mourinho in charge.
I know who says the right things, and I know who can win the trophies. But over the long season of a campaign, I'd still be worried. But
More worried than now?
no, I can't really get any more. I can't really get any more worried than now.
Yeah.
I can't really get any more. But I don't feel like Pochettino is now... He's now sunk into a level which I don't really want to pit anyone against him, because this is not the standard. Do you know what I mean? So I'm trying to think, who can we go to that's even better? But you're right. Realistically, what can we do at this point? But the main thing that is, before we wrap up, the main thing that is gonna dead all of this is that this board will not go for a character.
No.
They will not go for a character.
I'm speculating my dream here, and I'm looking for somebody to like reinvigorate my love. And I think Mourinho's only that. He's that tonic because Pochettino has killed it. Clearlake have killed it. This squad of players have killed it. Like, what's your ambition now? What do you want this season? Okay, what do you want? Mourinho comes in. I
want the season to end.
There you go. Mourinho comes in. You'll be sending a text around going, "Has anyone got a spare? Has anyone got a spare for Forest?" At the moment, you're going, "I don't even want to watch Forest on the telly."
I'm just worried that only lasts a month, and then we're back. Just
good vibes for a month. It's like a holiday romance, man. It's always you wouldn't go back on
the
it,
honeymoon period. The honeymoon period. Rory, man, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
It's been good discussing. This is a tough period right now we're going through, but I mean, ups and downs, I guess, of supporting a football club. We've enjoyed ourselves enough over the last 20 years. After the last 30 years,
been greedy, haven't we?
Let the people know where to find you as well.
But just on YouTube, always banging on about something. Maybe I'll be in the comments. Thank you.
Thank you very much, man. Guys, make sure you subscribe. Links will be in the description as always. And we'll see you guys next time. Thank you.